The journey isn't about convincing yourself that you are enough, but loving yourself even if you aren't. You're not a friend of me, enter the light, 'cause you can never kill my vibe. Hey y'all, it's your girl Ariel Simone, and welcome to another episode of Full Cup, where we read together, grow together, flow together. You heard? Y'all, I'm just so excited. I'm excited because we are back at it again with another chapter. And y'all, if you haven't already caught up, we are reading This Is How You Heal by Brianna Wiest. I absolutely love this book. If you are eager about self-growth, development, self-care, self-esteem, stepping into who you say you want to be, meeting yourself halfway, this is the book for you, y'all. When I tell y'all, I just love reading this together. I love the comments. I love us talking. I love when we talk about our takeaways, all of that. I love it so much. And what do y'all think about this new position? And look, the new paintings are good. I'm excited. Like, I just wanted the apartment to feel a little bit more blackity black. You know what I mean? Blackity, yeah. I really needed the apartment to feel a little bit more me, you know? So, Papa, come here. You the best Luli. I look at all the Lulis and you the best Luli. All right. Down all the way, please. If you're going to hang out with mom, you got to get down. But yes, back to the book. This book has been healing in so many different ways. And if you are just struggling with like trying to step into more self-growth or discipline or just emotional resilience, this is the book for you. And I'm just so excited. So y'all, grab you a cup. Grab you a cup. And if y'all know where this is from, y'all would be my tribe. I'm letting you know right now, we would be great friends. This is my favorite movie. I'm actually getting some art hung up in the crib of a beautiful scene from this movie. Soon come on the next vlog or a few vlogs coming up. But yeah, y'all. Okay, let's get into the book. Let's get into it because I can start yapping. And guys, wait real quick. I want to start turning this into a podcast. How do y'all feel about that? Like, a part of me is thinking it might make sense to strip the audio and make it a podcast. This way more people can listen. You don't have to watch. If you do want to watch, gang, run to YouTube. But if you don't, that's also very fair and very okay. So I'm thinking about that as well. What's your thoughts on that? Do y'all want to listen to this? How do you guys like to listen to this or tune in? Do you do things throughout the day? Y'all know it's Sunday. This is how we take care of our week. This is how we set the week, and we are off on a good tone. You know? Okay. So before we even begin, make sure that you are hydrated, whether it's some water. I got me my mushroom coffee. This has been my flex lately. I love mushroom coffee. I noticed that I think a lot better with it. So this is my favorite type of coffee. But also, too, just grab yourself whatever feels good and hydrate and pour into yourselves. This way you can pour into others. And that is the goal of this entire series. Okay, so the name of this chapter is If You Ever Feel Lost, Please Remember That You Can Make a Home Within Your Own Heart. I love that. As a traveling solo girly, I just love that. You were never meant to find a permanent home in a temporary world. Okay? Other people were never meant to love you into a feeling of safety and security. You are here to make a home within your own heart. You are here to learn not that you don't need connection, but that without being connected to yourself, nothing else is viable. You are here not to burrow yourself into a life someone else built, but to find the courage to create your own. Your chest is where peace is. Your heart is where love is. Your mind is where inspiration is. The people who walk along with you on your journey are never to be taken for granted, but they are also never to be utilized for your own emotional labor. It is nobody else's job to make you feel safe, to make us feel that all is well and right. That is so true. Like, a lot of the things we got to hold on our own, for real. Until you are at home in your own heart, you will never make peace with the world. This is because you will be constantly requiring things to be different than they are, constantly needing people to fulfill your own expectations of them, constantly needing to weave around your fears and your triggers. What you have to realize instead is that home is not an idea. It is not a place. It's a way of being. It's a way you show up to your life and make it your own. It's a way you find comfort in the contours of who you are, not who you might become one day. It's the way you seek presence in all things to realize that nothing is meant to be perfect, but everything is a new experience that you didn't have before and might never have again. Making a home within yourself is knowing you will always be okay, not because everything will go the way you initially planned, but because you will adapt even if it doesn't. Okay? Making a home within yourself is knowing that you will always move forward, not because it won't be hard to let go, but because you can do hard things. Keep going, girl. What else can we do? Making a home within yourself is knowing that you will always return to peace, not because you will always be comfortable, but because you are willing to feel uncomfortable in order to have the life you asked for. We are not alive to coast. We are not alive to seek safe spaces within the idea of one another. We are here to realize that we are the source of our own existence, of all that we create, of all that we are. We are here to bring ourselves home and then to show others the way back to themselves. Y'all, she's talking to us. She's talking to us. She's talking to me. Oh my God, okay. 16 little reminders for when you feel like you aren't quite where you want to be in life. 1, you have come so far. Please think about where you were a year ago, or 3, or 5, or 7. You have scaled mountains. You have overcome things you once thought you never would. You have done things you did not think you could do, even if some of those were just getting out of bed and facing another day. You can live within the questions. We was talking about that last episode. You can live within the questions. I remember telling y'all that I was asking myself the big high mileage questions. I was like, who am I? Who do I want to be? What's my purpose? What do I want to do to feel fulfilled? Like, I was asking the big loaded questions. And I really had to sit with myself like, you don't need the answers to these questions right this second. You just turned 34. Everything's going to be okay. And you can live within the questions. You know, you can live within the answers. You can just ebb and flow between both and flirt with the two. Like, you can literally bounce back, and not everything needs to be so definitive. And I really needed to tell myself that day, like, everything's going to be okay. But then she goes on to say, you can live within the questions. Life doesn't start when we're set on the answers. It unfolds within the questions themselves. It's not knowing where we're going to end up, but the journey of exploration and soul searching and deep diving and connecting and seeking and ultimately arriving at our north. It's not always knowing exactly what we'll be doing in 10 years, but having the courage to pursue what feels right and comes effortlessly today. It's not always being certain that one relationship is the end all be all of your existence, but showing up to it each day in spite of the unknown. Certainty is the cheap way out. It's giving a final answer when you are meant to unravel the question until the answer is a piece of you. So obvious, so present, something you do not need to decide, but simply choose to embrace. You are not behind. You're not off track. There is no way to be. Your life is a continuous unfolding of yourself. It is shaped and guided by the world outside of you and how you interpret and respond to that world. It's an ongoing exploration of who you are and how you might be. Life doesn't begin when everything is perfect. It does not start when you think you're worthy. It's happening right now. You are not anywhere but where you are supposed to be, because there is nowhere else to be. The idea that you might have to earn your way into a life that is already yours is an illusion. Keep talking to us. Keep talking to us. What else? Life isn't a linear ascent into perfection. When you're watching a movie, you don't spend the whole hour and a half just waiting for the ending, for the final answers. You understand that each piece of the story has meaning. Each part is there to be enjoyed, savored, and metabolized. You don't expect all the strings to pull together and for everything to make sense right away, but you remain curious. You observe, you interpret, and predict, and you stay on the course. Your life is the same way. You're living in a work of art while treating it as an equation that you have not yet solved. We do not create ourselves once and then never again. We are a lifelong project, an ever-shifting, continual blossoming. A continual blossoming. Okay, nobody expects as much of you as you do of yourself. Why is she yelling? Why is she yelling? She's yelling. Stop yelling. I know that this is so hard to believe. I know you imagine that everyone you come across is evaluating your successes and failures, mapping them through their minds, and arriving at a conclusion about the light through which they'll see you. I want to tell you a secret. That light is your own. That is the perception you're projecting. That is the lens you're seeing yourself through. The brain is a funny thing in that its primary goal is to feel affirmed, and often when our most pronounced fears about ourselves take the center of our consciousness, we end up seeking reasons to believe in them more, not less. The point is that you don't know how other people see you. You're not in their minds. You can only know how you imagine yourself to be, and then consider for a moment that you don't spend much time evaluating every detail of someone else's existence. So maybe, just maybe, you are likewise at the center of your own universe. This is so important too, because the way we think about ourselves, and we're always like thinking, other people are thinking about themselves too. Other people are thinking about themselves too. Like they're not thinking about us all day. Like that'll humble us too. Like let's honor a little bit of humility here and like not assume that everyone's always thinking about us. It's also why I love doing solo dates. I love going to the movies by myself. I love going to restaurants with myself. I love going to the aquarium with myself because people aren't really focused on you. Like everyone is minding their business. And that's the pro to solo travel, solo creativity, solo artist dates, because it's like everybody doing their own thing. And it reminds you to do your own thing, you know? But yeah, weaving through the shadows is part of the experience. Facing the hardships is part of the experience. There is no experience through which you cannot seep out a part of your soul that once was a mystery to you. That in itself is a part of the magic. You don't have to be certain. Almost anything that truly calls your soul will take you off the certain and consistent path that a million others have carved out of the unknown. It's never going to be reasonable to travel or pursue art, to love the person you love. There will always be a reason not to. Another thing you could or should or might be doing with your time. Sometimes, in an effort to make sense of our own lives, we end up more lost than ever because love isn't logical, joy isn't logical, passion isn't logical. You have to find the courage to paint outside the lines you once drew for yourself. You have to start being kind to yourself. Kind in the way where you're kind to a child, to someone or something so innocent and endlessly deserving of your affection and praise. We have to be the kindest to ourselves when it seems least deserved, because that's usually when it's most needed. Find the simplest and most obvious ways to do that. Over time, you will find that so much of the relentless internal pressures are voices you once heard and then took them as your own. You probably don't need as much as you think you do. You do not need a lot to be successful, and you do not need to have a lot to be enough. You do not need a lot to be content, fulfilled, and happy. You do not need as much as you think you do, and widening that gap in the name of ambition will not make you reach for more. It will only leave you emptier. Know what you need, know what you want, and draw a line in the sand. You cannot spend the entirety of your life desperately and exhaustedly seeking. You must make time to simply be. Now, this is really powerful too, because when I was in therapy and I was also seeing a life coach, I was really struggling with the difference between doing self-love and being self-love. Doing and being. Because in my mind, I was like, in order to be, I gotta do. And in order to do, I gotta be. Like it was getting crazy in my head. But then the more I started flirting with the idea of what doing self-love is and what being self-love is, I started recognizing that it is a way of life. It is a lifestyle. It is less about I need to do A, B, and C. I need to have a slow morning routine. I need to do self-massages. I need to take baths. Instead of doing like do, I started thinking like be. Who do I want to be? I want to just be someone that wakes up early. I want to embody self-love. I want to talk kinder to myself. I want to be more nurturing. I don't want to just start going in on myself anytime I do something wrong or something I don't love. Instead, I want to be like, that wasn't the best thing that you can do, but it was the best thing that you did at this moment. And that's also very okay. I want to honor more gentle parenting. I want to see being self-love as being soft, kind, giving, compassionate, empathetic, loving, things like that, like being versus doing. And doing, I was just like, oh my God, I need to cross off everything off my to-do list. And being is I am who I am, period. Like nothing else needs to be said. So learning the difference between that was really helpful for me because I just need to feel like I'm doing something in order to be, but not anymore. Now I feel like I'm being to do. And it's just, it hit different. Like I feel like one is external into internal and one is internal into external. How we feel inside literally reflects the outside world. And it hit different when you start being instead of doing. So yeah. I wanted to share something that I recently learned that I feel like somebody else might need to know, or something I wish that somebody would have told me when I was 28 or 30 or even 31. So, all right. I hope that helps. I hope that helps somebody. Let me know if it helped you in the comments. Like, talk to me in the comments because I like to talk back, y'all. I like to talk back. But yes, hold on. Let's do a little quick coffee break. I feel like I'm talking so fast. I'm so excited. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. The fullest expression of your potential isn't about quantity, but quality. We know that. Less is more, for real. Being loved means being completely seen and embraced by a few close people. Not seeing just how many people you can convince to admire you. Being successful does not mean making as much money as possible, but being able to wake up every day and feel grateful to be alive, even in spite of all you've been through, even in spite of the fear. It is not how much you have, but how much what you have makes you believe life is worth living. It is not about how far you might climb from yourself, but whether or not you settle in. I want to pause real quick and say something else. Since moving abroad and being able to foster my own community that feels like an extended family, I've recognized how much romance lives in platonic relationships, how much care, how much consideration, how much intimacy, like literally intimacy lives in platonic relationships. And I feel like before I was honestly so male centered. I don't know, like I did a lot of things for the male gaze, whether it was like dressing a certain way, speaking a certain way. And I don't want to say like I changed who I am, but there were a lot of things that I did to be accepted by my boyfriend at the time, or just like be accepted from men. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. We're gonna keep it a $150 right now, and that's how it was. But I'm realizing that the more I step into womanhood, into loving and cheering for women, into honoring women, into honoring myself, I'm realizing that everything comes down to quality. Everything comes down to how I want to feel. Everything comes down to, is this in alignment with who I'm becoming, and is this fulfilling? Do I feel good and uplifted and light after I'm around people, after I'm around certain things, or after I do certain things with myself? Or am I drained and tired and lethargic and this kind of took away from me? Like paying attention to that in my 30s really hit different when it comes to food, when it comes to friends, when it comes to relationships. Like, does this give me energy or does it take it away? And it makes such a huge difference. It really does. And also for my emotional eaters, because we're all emotional eaters in our own way, in our own right. Check out my website. I have a food and feelings guide, which is all about becoming more of an intuitive eater, learning who you are as an emotional eater, feeding your feelings in the right ways, seeing certain salt and sugar and carby cravings and knowing what to do with it, knowing when to journal, when to do EFT tapping, when to deep breathe, when to just call a friend, when to really seek a hug. Because sometimes we don't want sugar. Sometimes we don't want bread. We want intimacy, touch, and affection. Sometimes we don't want something crunchy and salty. Sometimes we want adventure and we want a creative hobby and we want to feel good about our jobs and our lives. And we just need more thrill, more love. You know what I mean? More creativity. So the guide is all about that. It's all about honing in on your feelings, getting in tune with them, becoming more of an intuitive eater, and being able at any moment to read the room when it comes down to your body and your food choices. So y'all go get the guide. It is a great, great guide. And if you are struggling with emotional eating, it is for you. Trust me, it is for you. Okay, it's normal to be uncomfortable. Discomfort is a beautiful messenger. Unlike its sister signal, pain, discomfort often points us towards where we are most primed for growth, whereas hurt points us towards where we can no longer grow. That's a nice difference. That's a nice little pivot. Okay, discomfort is what quietly communicates to us that something isn't quite right, which means that deep down, we know that there is an alternative path, even if we are afraid to embrace it completely. Discomfort is your friend, not your enemy. And asking it what it has arrived to tell you is the only way to coexist with it. Otherwise, you'll end up constantly at war within yourself. Okay. Big things happen in small steps. You might be thinking that the problem with your life is the lack of big breakthrough moments, momentous achievements, and distinguishable exits from the past and entries into a new, more glamorous life. No. You might be thinking that the problem is that you don't live in the coolest city, or that you're not the most well-respected individual in your field, or that someone else has more than you, which means you're simply not doing enough. That's not true at all. The truth is that big things happen in small parts. It's not about those one-off changes. It's about the accumulation of intentions you set day in and day out. You are far more defined by your daily routine than you are whether or not you move someplace in a particular or accomplish something in a particular amount of time. No, the point is that the path will lead you to where you need to be inevitably. Holding your breath until you arrive only delays you getting there. That's very true. That's very true. Like big things happen in small ways. Because right now I'm loving YouTube. I'm loving communicating with you guys. And this is something I've been wanting to do for so long. But I'm going to be honest with you. My first YouTube check was $100. And I was just like, oh my God, like it took me 6 months to get to $100. And then now I'm about to get paid $113. And that took 2 months. And at first I was just feeling like, oh my God, this is like so small. But then I'm like, but the message is that I'm actually doing what I said I wanted to do. And I'm communicating with a whole new community. Like, we friends at this point. And how cool is it that we're friends talking about wellness, self-growth, eating, stepping into creativity, meeting ourselves halfway. Like, that's the bigger picture. That's the bigger message. But in small steps, I can see this growing. I can see us meeting in person. I can see panels. I can see workshops. I can see events. I can see all of that for us. I'm really, really hyped. So we're going to run this back too. Like, Loki, we're going to run this little segment back and be like, you had said that. You had said that and you did that. So yeah, y'all, I'm very grateful to be here. Like, I know I say that a lot, but I'm really grateful to be here. Muy agradecida. Like, I'm big grateful to be here. Seriously. Nobody has it all figured out. Part of the stories that occur in our minds that make us believe we aren't quite keeping up with the pace of our peers is that everyone has this idea that everyone has it figured out. How couldn't we think that? Look at the endless stream of their accomplishments and moves and family photo ops and all the things we see nonstop. How can it appear as though everyone has it completely together and we are just scrambling to stay where we are? I tend to feel like that sometimes too. Like, oh my God, everyone's doing this. Everyone's going on brand trips. Everyone's getting deals. I tend to feel like that, but I am where I'm supposed to be. You are where you're supposed to be right now. There is so much to learn. This way, when we get there, we can appreciate it. We can honor it. We know how to grow from it. We know what to do with it. Sometimes if we get things before we're ready, we don't know what to do with it. It's easy to fumble it. And then not every fumble is really a fumble because it teaches us not to fumble. You know what I mean? So yeah, the highlight reel can be deceiving. We aren't supposed to know every detail and milestone of every person we've ever been in contact with. This is an experience that's distinctly unique to the digital age, and it's one we're still adapting to. Before the internet, you'd move from a place or a school or a group, and you'd actually move on. Not stay gently connected despite being geographically, mentally, and emotionally in different worlds. It's tricking you into thinking everyone you've ever known has it together, and you don't. But that's not so. You're right on pace for the life that is yours. The truth is that right here, right now, right as you are right on time. You are running on schedule. There is no way you couldn't be because there is no wrong way to move through the path that is your own life. When we are too certain of what's next in life, it is because we are following someone else's path. The journey isn't about convincing yourself that you are enough, but loving yourself even if you aren't. Okay, that was wow. Wow, that hit. That hit. On the road to believing that you're enough for this life, you'll begin by trying to seek out evidence that disproves your worst fears. Of course, if people want to date you, you are appealing, and so you are worthy. Of course, if you get into your dream school, you are smart enough for your future, and then you are worthy. Of course, if you are liked by so many, social proof says that you're an amicable person and you're also worthy. Unfortunately, life doesn't really work this way because even when we gather all of those reasons we should believe in our worth, we really don't feel it until we decide to love ourselves, even if we don't believe we're worth it. Instead of trying to convince yourself that you're the best person ever, try instead just caring for yourself and your surroundings unconditionally. Worth is not something we earn, but something we remember as we cultivate our own care and our own approval. That is so deep. When I first moved into this apartment, I did not like this new apartment. I was just like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. This looks old. This looks, this, but now I'm recognizing it's very charming. That's for starters. Like, look at all the natural light. It's very charming. But then also, too, I was just like, oh my God, I guess I have to be grateful. And I was forcing myself into gratefulness. And I don't know if it was toxic positivity, trying to ignore these very real feelings that I had that I didn't like about the apartment. But I think it was zapping out the gratitude for me, like focusing on everything I didn't like, everything that I didn't want. I just was like, wait, hold on. Like, I'm zapping myself out of being appreciative and honoring where I'm at. And I'm saying all of this to say that even though I didn't love my apartment, I was still very passionate about always keeping it clean, always having fresh flowers, always just making sure everything looks spick and span, and just like kind of inviting and welcoming for me to create and love it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with that. Like, cultivate it at any moment. You are doing better than you think you are. You are closer to a breakthrough than you believe. You have come further than you remember. You are doing better than you think because your brain and your body is hardwired to constantly focus on the next problem, the next threat, the next fear. This is meant to keep you safe. when really it slowly fractures your heart. It makes you believe that nothing you accomplish is enough, that you are destined to live the rest of your life leaping from one high to the next, always embracing for the next inevitable crash. Even if all you did today was keep breathing, you did enough. You are not only as worthy as you prove yourself to be. Your worth is a self-evident byproduct of the presence of your being. Maybe the point is that you stop and finally feel it. Oh my God, y'all. And that is it for this chapter. But when I tell y'all she ate, she ate the dogs and the cats. Like she ate. And when I say like I'm really, really, really feeling this chapter so much, this might be my favorite chapter yet, hence why it's the longest. But like I really love this because it allows us to step into loving the journey and loving where we are right now. And I think so many of us love the idea of the destination and love us getting to where we want to be. And even when she kept talking about you're closer to our breakthrough, sometimes we're not though. Sometimes we're not close to our breakthrough. Sometimes the breakthrough is in us waking up and pushing forward. Sometimes those mini breakthroughs, those mini shifts, those always added fruits, always waking up a little earlier, adding greens to every meal, adding more fermented foods, working and moving your body, stretching, daily walks outside. Sometimes those are breakthroughs. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we don't gotta wait for this big moment, and sometimes the little moments are the young moments. You know what I mean? So I kind of was like feeling like that, but also I agree with like the next fear and the next chasing the next thing always keeping us at bay. I was really struggling with this in therapy. I was telling my therapist that every time I accomplish something big or I achieve something grand, I don't feel accomplished. Instead, I feel like a sense of relief, like, oh, it's over. And I don't love that for me. So she helped me create this reward system. Whereas like when you do get something, what do you want to do? Because sometimes I do tend to just reward myself just because. I'm like, we're going to the spot today just because. And even though that is great, it's not the greatest when you know deep down there are things that you need to do to get ahead and to hit some of your goals. So basically I say all this to say, appreciate the journey now, really recognize all that you have done and treat yourself to that as well. This way you're constantly in a spiral of gratitude, of constantly feeling accomplished, of constantly feeling rewarded, like I did that. I did that. That's ultimately the goal. So yeah, y'all. Oh my God, y'all, the battery died. But this is it for this chapter. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you took away from this the most. Please send and tell a friend and talk to me in the comments because you know I like to talk back, y'all. Next episode is going to be so good as well. I'm so excited to see y'all next Sunday. Yes, y'all. Big, big, big love. Not the local one. Not the local one. Oh, I don't know if that's a gang sign, but y'all know what I mean. That was the half heart. Like, I'm a 90s baby. That was the half heart. But yeah, y'all. Later. Love y'all.